let's say we want to make a character that's going to have powers. Like, let's think of Super Mario, where Mario has his base form, he has a level up, and then he has Fire Mario, he has, all the other powers.
Mario.
I'm sorry?
Metal Mario.
Yes, but that's another thing. So let's say that we want to use a variable to tell the game what power-up Mario should have. So I would set in Blender a variable, or a property as Blender calls it, and we'll say that 1 is his default state, his short default state where 1 hit will kill him. Okay? That's 1. We would then say, okay, if we use our sensors, if Mario collides with a mushroom, then he gets bigger. He goes to state 2. However, we can also put in a sensor, a collision sensor, that says if he collides with an enemy, then he goes back down to this state. So we would have and we have actuators that would change the property, and then properties can also be sensors. So if you change this number, you can have sensors in your project that say, okay, the number has changed, and now we change his size. Or now we give him a fire flower. Okay? So this is just one example of what you can do with variables, but there's many, many other things you can do with them. You can use them to create a scoreboard. You can use them to keep track of how many rounds you have in your game or how much time is remaining. But let's just go ahead and experiment them within Blender now, rather than me just writing up on a whiteboard forever. So in our Blender project, in our logic editor, next to all of these sensors, controllers, actuators, and so on, there's going to be another box there to your right that says Add Properties. And if you don't see that, then you're going to have to drag out that side panel. Like, for example, if your logic editor right now looks like this, you got to grab this plus box here and drag out that Properties panel. So we now have our sensors, controllers, our actuators, and we have this thing that says Properties. So we are going to add a game property. So go ahead and click on that now. So there are many, many different types of properties for what you can use with your game. By default, it gives you a float property, which is a number that can go to a certain amount of decimal points. There are many, many others. Timer means that you start it at a certain point, and then when the timer runs out, it sends its signal. String is a word value, or any sort of text. Float is going to be, I've already explained float. Integer is going to be just any whole numbers, positive or negative. And Boolean is yes or no. And you to activate it and toggle it on or off. So let's go ahead and add an integer property, since integers are usually the easiest to work with. We are going to make it so that, just to experiment in working with these properties here, we're going to make it so that our cube can only jump, since you guys should still have that jump command in, we're going to make it so that the cube can only jump when the integer is 1. So, let's try it. We're going to add a sensor, and we can add a property sensor. Now you guys are going to have a lot more in your logic panel here. But I'm going to add a property sensor here. And I can just keep it named property. I am going to rename this game property here, though, to jump. So I have this integer here renamed to jump. So when we're checking properties, there's a few different things that we can check from the property. We can check if the property is greater than or less than a certain number. We can check if the property has changed. We can check if the property has gone over a certain interval that we set. We can check if the property is not equal to our number or if it's equal to our number. So we're going to go ahead and select equal. And we're going to select our jump property within this property selection here. And we want him only to be able to jump when the value is 1. So we're going to go ahead and put 1 right there. So, if we have a value of 1 right here, we can also add this to our already existing controllers and actuators for our jumping. So I'm going to go ahead and add those quickly, but you guys should already have them. Controller, motion actuator, and a keyboard sensor. So, there is still one more thing that we're going to need to add. And that is, if we can only have our cube jump when the cube is, when the integer has gone up, then we're going to have to insert something that will make that integer go up. So we are going to go ahead and add another actuator. This time we're going to add a property actuator, and we're going to work backwards this time. Now there are a few different things you can do. You can level the actuator, you can toggle it on or off, you can copy it, you can add it, or you can assign a value. And we are going to assign a value, which is the default option. We are going to click our property here, our jump property, and we are going to assign it a value of 1. So that when whatever we decide happens, it'll change the property value to 1. So let's create something that our cube can collide with in order to turn this on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add any object you want. You can make it pretty much whatever. And I'm going to put it above my cube, but you can pretty much put it anywhere since you guys are going to have up, down, left, right controls. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a material on monkey here. New material, doesn't really matter the color. Just matters that I have a monkey. And what we're going to do with this is, so what we're going to do with this is that we are going to say when our box collides with our new object, then we're going to change that integer value. So we're going to go ahead and add a controller, just whatever, and we will add a new sensor. And our sensor will have a collision. So we're adding a collision sensor here. We want it to collide with the new material that we've made. So we click M/P. And we want to make sure that we have the material that's currently on our new object, which is, for me, 0.001, but I'm going to change that to monkey here. So, if I collide with monkey, then we will change that integer value. And we can connect all those together now. So now that we have all of these things, what should happen when the cube falls and hits the monkey is that the cube should be able to jump. Just as a control here, I'm going to preview it and show you. So I cannot jump yet, because I have not yet hit the monkey. I cannot do any jumping no matter how much I mash that spacebar. However, hopefully, if this worked correctly, if I do hit the monkey, I can now jump, because of the fact that the monkey, when I collided with it, changed that integer value. Alright? So go ahead and try it for yourselves, see if you got it to work. And this is pretty much the most basic way of working with an integer. And we will work more with them once we get further into game design tomorrow. But this is the most basic way to use them. And I don't have a lot more time today, but I'm going to encourage you all to experiment with using these integers in your project. See what you can make it do by using these integers and other properties, such as timers and things like that. So, I will leave you some work time, either to experiment or to keep working on your animations, and that's pretty much it. So if any of you have any questions before I go, let me know.